Hey guys, it's Pastor Brian, and I want to invite you to day one of the Disciple Makers Daily Devotional. It's a 21-day devotional, and here's what I want you to commit to. First, read and journal for all 21 days. We're going to be covering topics from Scripture to make sure that you understand why you should become a disciple maker and, of course, how to do it. And our tools will help with that. So number two, I encourage you to get trained at pursuegod.org/mentor. So we have all kinds of training resources there to help you to actually pull this off. So do it with a mentor or maybe at a training workshop at your church. And then number three, this is the whole point to this devotional. Become a disciple maker. I hope that after these 21 days, you feel the calling on your life to go out there and help somebody pursue God. And that's what this is all about. So day number one, here we go. Calling all fishermen. From the beginning, here's a principle. Jesus called regular people to be disciple makers. If you're like most people, you're probably a little nervous to even think about, much less start making disciples. But I hope I can change your mind. Matthew chapter 4, it says, one day as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, also called Peter, and Andrew, throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. Look, they were fishermen. Jesus called out to them, come follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people. And at once they left their nets and followed him. Now, there are at least a couple things I want you to see in this passage. First of all, he called regular fishermen. He didn't call Pharisees. He didn't call super qualified religious people. And that probably is encouraging to you because you're probably a normal person. In fact, you're probably thinking, shouldn't someone else be making disciples? Maybe someone a little more spiritual? No, the answer is no. Jesus went to fishermen. And I want you to notice something else about this story. This is one of the first things Jesus did in ministry. He didn't go preach a sermon. He called regular people to follow him. But look at what he did. He had purpose in mind from the very beginning. He had producers in mind from the very beginning. He did not have in mind to call a bunch of people to listen to sermons and sit back and drink their coffee and enjoy church and enjoy the fellowship. Now, that's not bad. I don't want you to feel bad if you enjoy church. But listen, from the very beginning, he calls us to go make disciples. He calls us to have purpose from the very beginning. Think about this. He hadn't even shared the gospel yet with the disciples. They didn't even hear about the cross. They wouldn't hear about that till much later in his ministry with them. But the beginning of the whole thing was him saying, you guys are going to be disciple makers. And I want you to think about that in your own life. If you're a Christian, Jesus has called you to more than just sitting back. So here's what I want you to think about, maybe talk about, certainly to journal on. Number one, do you feel more or less qualified than Peter and Andrew to make disciples? And I really want you to think about that. Right now, do you know more about the Bible? Do you know more about God? Do you know more about Jesus than the disciples did at this point? I think the answer is yes. In other words, if Peter and Andrew were qualified, you are too. And here's the second question. Will you commit to this? Will you commit to digging into the Word? It's going to be challenging for the next 21 days. I'm not going to lie to you. Are you willing to dig in, pray about it, journal on it, think about it, allow some people in your world to speak into your life? I hope you'll commit to this and be ready to become a fisher of men.